Hey guys, Randy Potato here with the Hero Guide for the Highwayman. We'll discuss their unique skills, hero paths, and trinkets, and the different builds you can use with this character, and in what types of parties and scenarios they will thrive. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new content every day. The Highwayman is a highly versatile DPS that can fit in any position and has the range to nuke any enemy rank. Let's start with a path overview. Sharpshot boosts range damage by 25%, and nerfs melee damage by the same amount. Additionally, you gain 3 speed, and a strength token when you use Grapeshot Blast. Rogue boosts your damage in rank 1 by 25%, nerfs damage 25% in rank 3, and 50% in rank 4, while granting point blank shot and riposte token. Yellowhand boosts your max HP 15%, nerfs your range damage 75%, and debuffs enemy bleed resist by 10% on every hit. It allows Highway Robbery to steal an additional positive token, and Double Cross now removes block. Let's move to skills. Wicked Slice is your basic melee ability, usable from the front 3 to front 2 ranks, dealing 4 to 8 damage, 6 to 9 on upgrade, and a quite high 15% crit, 20% on upgrade. This move ignores 20% of the enemy's DBR, 30% on upgrade. This is a quite powerful direct damage attack, especially given the high crit rate. With a Rogue, this move gets even stronger if you plant in rank 1, although it's nerfed by Sharpshot and not affected by Yellowhand except nerfing enemy bleed resist. The DBR ignore is very useful in a large number of fights, especially the ones that matter. It's an okay equip for every build except Sharpshot, and even then it's usable, just inferior to a lot of Highwayman's other abilities. Absolutely a staple on Rogue build, however. Pistol Shot is your base ranged attack, usable from the back 3 to back 3 ranks. It does 3 to 6 damage, 4 to 8 on upgrade, and will daze on combo, upgrading to stun on combo when the skill is mastered. This ability is an absolute staple on Sharpshot, but not really equipable with Rogue and Yellowhand paths. A solid damage attack that can hit rank 4, this skill makes Highwayman along with Hellion among the strongest DPS to hit rank 4, which is necessary against the Librarian and the Act 2 boss, among other enemy mashes. On a Wanderer or Sharpshot build, this is a priority upgrade, although not usually an N1 upgrade. It all depends on how consistent your combo generation is. It does not scale like some of Highwayman's stronger abilities, but still retains a spot on most bars because of the stun and the fact it's usable from even the back row, allowing you to slot in front rank DPS heroes alongside your Highwayman to output incredible damage. Duelist Advance is a melee attack usable from the back 3 to front 3 ranks. It moves Highwayman forward 1, does 3 to 5 damage, 4 to 6 on upgrade, and gives Highwayman 2 riposte tokens, 3 on upgrade. Mastered, it also gives a dodge token. The actual riposte move does 4 to 6 damage and has a 33% chance of applying a combo token. It's nerfed on Sharpshot and sometimes Rogue, and not affected by Yellowhand except the bleed debuff. Riposte is an absolutely insane action economy generator, giving you free damage and token strip when targeted by an enemy. Unfortunately, you have no taunt, so you cannot force an enemy into your riposte. This is a staple skill for movement-based and melee Highwaymen, which is unfortunately not a build supported in damage by any path, and outshone by the ranged paths. The best utility here is move you back into rank 1 to point blank if you're running Rogue, or to fix positioning in teams with back row heroes who don't like to be moved to the front. It's an absolute powerhouse on Wanderer early game before you unlock any paths. Otherwise, despite its power and utility, the skill falters against the might of his other skills with path support. Tracking Shot is a debuff usable from any rank that can target the back 3 ranks. It removes all dodge stacks from the enemy and applies a combo token. On upgrade, it ignores and removes stealth and blocks the enemy from gaining dodge tokens for 2 turns. This is extremely situational and should only ever go on your bar in specific fights. It's generally better just to coin flip an enemy rather than spend a whole turn to remove their dodge. The combo is nice, but again, it doesn't do enough for the action. On upgrade, it gets more interesting, being able to remove stealth and block dodge generation, which can cripple certain enemies. The only fight I really like having this on my bar is against the Librarian, who generates an absurd amount of dodge tokens per round. It is usable in certain fights, I suppose, if you're a combo focus team, or if you're fighting high dodge enemies such as the Sluice or Creature Den or Cultists, but most of the time it just wastes space on your bar. Take Aim is a self buff usable from any rank that gives you a crit and dodge token, as well as removing blind. On upgrade, it gives you an additional crit token and a speed token. It has a 1-turn cooldown. This skill is an always equip on most Highwayman builds and a priority upgrade. There are 2 reasons for this. 1, a crit token always does 1.5 times the max damage of the attack you use, meaning you on average do more damage across 3 turns with Take Aim mastered. Crit is also a way to lower your stress. Notably, each enemy you crit gets a separate stress heal roll, meaning your AoE skills, like Grapeshot, or combat items, like Crow's Feet, can mean a massive team stress heal. Additionally, getting the reliability of knowing exactly how much damage you will do on your turn is important. Unmastered, it's quite a bit weaker, but still usually worth an equip. It's not affected directly by any of Highwayman's paths. One of the best skills in the entire game, usually a priority, even in 1 upgrade, and should be on the bar and central to almost any Highwayman build. Point Blank Shot is a front rank to front rank nuke that does 6 to 12 damage, 10 to 13 on upgrade. Knockbacks 1, applies combo, and moves Highwayman back. Its damage is buffed on Sharpshot and Rogue also gives you a riposte token. It's nerfed to the ground and useless on Yellowhand. A powerhouse ability, especially in the early game, and quite useful for eliminating a piece on the board in round 1. With its natural speed, and especially with Sharpshot speed buff and damage buff, you can erase a normal mob before any of them get a chance to act. With the mobile party, the Immobilize trophy, or utilizing Duelist Advance, you can keep spamming this ability in the front rank as an effective boss killer as well. Buffed by his 2 most useful paths, this does use utility in a decent number of fights because of positional restrictions, which is the only downside, but this is still a top tier upgrade and an equip on any non-Yellowhand build that sits in the front ranks. It's unlocked at Highwayman's first hero shrine. Grapeshot Blast is a front rank AoE ranged attack usable from the back 3 ranks, doing 2 to 4 damage, 4 to 6 on upgrade. It's nerfed by Rogue and Yellowhand while being strongly buffed by Sharpshot, both in raw damage and in gaining a strength token. While the damage is quite pathetic, even for an AoE, this is a top tier skill when used in conjunction with the proper paths and setup. The standard Highwayman build is to run Sharpshot, open with Take Aim, and then get 2 powerhouse AoE attacks that melt the front line and also provide multiple stress healings. Being able to fit your Highwayman in any of the back ranks is fantastic versatility as well. This skill especially shines against the Act 2 boss. Quite an interesting ability in that it shines as the star of Highwayman's premier build, but is essentially unequipable in any other scenario. The damage buff on upgrade is quite significant, so this is a fairly high priority upgrade, second only to Take Aim for Highwayman. It's unlocked at Highwayman's 4th shrine. Open Vein is a melee ability usable from the front 2 ranks, from the front 3 ranks, doing 3 to 5 damage, 4 to 6 on upgrade, as well as 2 bleed, 3 on upgrade. With combo, your bleed damage is doubled. This is nerfed by Sharpshot, varies on Rogue, and lowers bleed resist on Yellowhand, making it easier for you to spam and apply bleed to your opponent. This is a very niche attack that really only fits on Yellowhand, Highwayman's first path, and ideally only in bleed-based comps where you plan on acquiring the Leviathan's Bleed trophy. With Sharpshot, this is an obvious never equip, and with Rogue, you generally want to use Wicked Slice for the damage boost. The bleed, I guess, could be useful for checking death's door, but there's just never room on your bar in ranged or fusion builds, only in specific melee comps. It's unlocked at Highwayman's 2nd shrine. Double Tap is a single target ranged attack usable from ranks 2 or 3 against ranks 2 or 3. It does 4 to 8 damage, 6 to 9 on upgrade, and does 30% more damage against enemies with below 30% HP, 50% on upgrade, as well as ignoring 10% DBR, 20% on upgrade. It has an abysmal 5% crit, which means it needs Take Aim to be its most effective. It's boosted by Sharpshot, and nerfed on Yellowhand and sometimes Rogue. This is Highwayman's most powerful attack after Point Blank, and less restrictive, although it's still fairly restrictive overall. This is really only equipable on Sharpshot and mostly as a boss killer in conjunction with Take Aim. It's something you put on your bar if either you don't have the right team to spam Point Blank, or you otherwise need Highwayman in the middle ranks. It's a medium priority upgrade, and is only sometimes equipped outside of boss battles depending on your team comp. It's unlocked at Highwayman's last shrine. Highway Robbery is a non-damaging attack usable from the back 3 ranks against the front 3 ranks, destroying 2 positive enemy tokens. On upgrade, he instead steals 2 of the target enemy's positive tokens. It ignores dodge and has a 1-turn cooldown. Yellowhand allows you to steal a token unmastered and a 3rd token when upgraded, and it's not affected by his other paths. This skill is an absolute staple for Yellowhand and a situational equip on Highwayman's other builds. If you plan on running a Robbery build, this is a priority upgrade, though probably not at the first in. For most standard road and node fights, you generally want to prioritize just doing direct damage instead of playing for Robbery, but against cultists and certain bosses, being able to yoink tokens is absolutely debilitating to the enemy team. It just doesn't do enough on the standard DPS builds to be able to fit on most bars, but it's a fantastic utility move that you should keep in your back pocket for certain scenarios. It's unlocked at Highwayman's 3rd shrine. Double Cross is a front 2 to front 2 rank melee attack that does 2 to 4 damage, 3 to 5 on upgrade, as well as giving Highwayman a block token and applying a Vaughn token to the enemy. 2 Vaughn tokens on upgrade. Its damage is nerfed by Sharpshot, sometimes boosted by Rogue, although the damage component of the skill really only matters for checking Death's Door, and with Yellowhand it will remove block before applying the Vaughn. This is a fantastic utility skill with incredible action economy, doing damage, adding self-sustain, and setting up Vaughn on your opponent all in one move. The only real downside is the positional restriction. The Yellowhand buff is only occasionally important, but it becomes very powerful in certain fights. On standard Sharpshot and Rogue DPS builds, it's hard to fit this on your bar, but it's an essential part of Yellowhand's kit. It really depends whether you have even better DPS paired with your Highwayman that can utilize these Vaughn tokens. It's a situational but strong upgrade, usually late game to prepare for a boss. The biggest problem with this move is if the enemy resists the debuff, you've mostly wasted a turn compared to doing something real. It's unlocked at Highwayman's final hero shrine. Now, on to trinkets. Cursed Coin gives you 2 riposts on Highway Robbery, an additional 5% damage per positive token you have, but nerfs your crit into the ground if you don't have 100 plus relics, which you generally never want to hoard, especially late game. The good news is, you can guarantee yourself crit with Take Aim and not have to worry about that particular debuff. This is an incredible trinket that fits on every build. It can take some setup, but a Take Aim / Highway Robbery setup can stack you some incredible tokens to boost your damage before delivering your nuke. You definitely don't have to utilize Highway Robbery if that's too slow for you, but Take Aim is definitely a must to get the most out of this trinket. Rat Skull gives you a 66% chance of gaining a crit token if you act first in a round, a 66% chance of gaining immobilized if you use Duelist Advance, and Guts your healing against animal enemies. This is an insane trinket, given Highwayman has Sharpshot, which gives him speed, along with his natural decent speed, and the variety of speed buffs in the game. The animal debuff is significant and something to consider when fighting road battles or in regions like the Fodder or the Creature Den, but otherwise this is an absolute S-tier relic, perfect for bosses, if you can get the setup right. Tormenting Locket is pretty awkward. It's an absolute insane trinket for melee Highwayman, giving you a 15% crit boost, boosting Open Veins bleed by 33%, while giving you a 25% chance of stress if you use a ranged attack. The problem is melee Highwayman is pretty niche and generally only used in conjunction with Yellowhand, Highwayman's worst path. You can alter a rogue build mid-run to utilize this trophy, although I would rather just run standard point blank with a movement team rather than spam Open Vein or Slice. It's an absolute insta-trash if you run Sharpshot, the most powerful Highwayman build. So it's quite a polarizing trinket. Most often it will be an insta-trash, but can absolutely win a run if you go all in with melee Highwayman out of the gate. Now on to deeper discussion of Highwayman's 3 paths and what skills and trinkets to use with them, and what team comps they work best with. Sharpshot is Highwayman's premier path, and among the strongest overall paths in the game. There are a few variations to this build. The Take Aim Grapeshot build is the most common, usable in ranks 2 to 4. The theory is you upgrade Take Aim at N1, open essentially every fight with it, and then spam Grapeshot for an AoE crit nuke that melts standard combats and acts as a stress heal. To complement this, you generally run Pistol Shot for range and stun once you can afford the upgrade, and Double Tap for nuking potential. The 4 melee attacks are generally useless on this path, although Double Cross is usable in some narrow scenarios. Robbery is similarly a waste of time in almost all fights for this primary DPS. Since Tracking Shot sucks, this leaves Point Blank, which in this build only serves as an emergency retreat mechanism from Shuffle. With the Immobilized trophy, leave this off entirely and decide whether Cross or Robbery has more utility for your current scenario. A tweak to this build sees you open with Point Blank Shot with the buff damage, and then either stay in rank 2 to utilize standard take aim Grapeshot, or utilize a movement-based comp for continued point blank, such as trading with Man-at-Arms strategic withdrawal. This is quite high damage, but more restrictive positionally, and requires some corpse clear to consistently move enemies forward to be nuked. With the any rank versatility of this path, it fits in every build, and should be a primary consideration as among the most powerful and versatile paths in the game. Rogue is a weaker and more restrictive DPS path, requiring you to be in rank 1 to get your damage buff, and nerfing your damage if you're moved to the back row. This path leaves you 2 primary damaging attacks. Point Blank is the big nuke, also granting a riposte token on Rogue. This move can only be used to target rank 1, and will move you back unless immobilized. Wicked Slice is also quite strong, able to target either of the front ranks and allowing you to stay in position. To complement these 2 staples, you generally run Duelist Advance to move yourself back into position after Point Blank or a shuffle. Take Aim always goes on the bar as well, at least once upgraded. The final spot can either go to Open Vein, which does offer a dot but is otherwise redundant with Slice, or Double Cross, which can set up Sustain and Vuln, but is extremely niche in this build. The other skills don't work with a rank 1 centric hero, although I guess Tracking Shot can be used if you want. This build is usable in a much smaller variety of comps, usually requiring you to build around a generally inferior DPS. Either forcing a mobilized trophy from the Tangle, or running movement with Man-at-Arms are the ideal way to play Rogue. Yellowhand is a unique utility melee build, playing entirely different from his other paths. You can instantly toss all your ranged skills in the trash. This build can be played in any of the front 3 ranks, but prefers to lock into rank 2 to utilize both Robbery and Cross buffs. The best build here is both Robbery and Cross for the path buff, and Open Vein and Slice for your damage. Tracking Shot is garbage with Robbery, so you generally take Duelist Advance to fix shuffles, or spam with Immobilize. Take Aim is also strong as usual, but less so if you're focusing more on utility rather than melee. Being a rank 2 to 3 specialist that is a decidedly average to mediocre DPS utility, this path doesn't fit in a lot of teams, and is really more of a meme at this point. Most useful if forcing a bleed build, where it can be used in rank 1 as well, which unfortunately forces you to surrender Robbery. A very unique path without a real role in most comps currently. Overall, a powerhouse DPS hero, Sharpshot is your best bet as an elite, versatile path. Rogue is quite strong but more restrictive, and Yellowhand is mostly a meme, though much better than fellow memes like Venom Drop and Carcass. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I post new videos every day.